Part 5 of The Niece by Margot Livesey. Sorry, I got a little carried away. He could feel her standing behind him. Don't touch me, he thought. Do. I take my cooking seriously, she said, even when it is just tin. What makes you angry? You drinking beer, Emmanuel being a wanker, my life, using the tongs to move a knob of coal an inch to the right and an inch to the left. If I promise to be quiet, will you come back and keep me company? She walked away, not waiting for an answer, and he thought of all the tiny motions, the vertebrae, one after another, sliding against each other, the hip joints swiveling in their sockets, the tarsals and metatarsals flexing and straightening that make up departure. Yet the most mysterious motion, the one that couldn't be named or diagrammed, was what spilled a mood into a room. How he knew with absolute certainty that she wasn't taking his answer for granted, in either direction, simply leaving him alone to figure it out. As he sat back down at the kitchen table, she was peering into the oven. Is there a reason, she said, for upstairs to be plunged in Stygian gloom? He told her about the 5 light bulbs of the day before. Interesting, she turned, cheeks flushed from anger, or the oven, to face him. I'm okay, with appliances usually, but I can't wear a watch for more than a day or two before it goes haywire. Apparently, I make my own electricity. They ate off a card table in front of the fire in the freshly papered room. She had found candles in the cutlery drawer, and in their light the latter cast a hangman's shadow on the furniture, and the furniture loomed. They talked about computers, and whether a person could ever really disappear, and if life were better in Papua New Guinea. Then, at last, she spoke about herself, but almost, Zeke noticed, as if she were talking about another person. Well, that was something he understood. He often felt as if the events in his life, the things people claimed he'd said and done, were really part of a stranger's story. His biology teacher at school had explained that the cells in the body were replaced every 7 years. No wonder we don't always feel like our old selves. Once, years ago, I had a friend. She was the opposite of me, tiny, neat, furiously ironic. We shared an office at my first real job, and 3 or 4 nights a week we'd go out for a drink after work. I couldn't get enough of her company. He watched her lips, her eyes, her cheeks, the muscles of her throat and her forehead, and fewer of her words reached him. But when her story was done, the candles guttering, the fire dying, her face wore an expression he understood. He took her hand. You did what you could, he said, and squeezed her palm against his own. The effort of consolation made him bold. Her face changed inexplicably, light in her eyes, leaping and fading. Had he done something wrong? Then, as the candles faltered, he understood. With his free hand, he snuffed the flames. She rose to her feet, the whole magnificent swell of her, pulling him to his feet and led him up the stairs. Help me, she said, presenting the overalls. Soon she was naked, ample and unabashed. Beside her, Zeke felt pallid, stick-like. Can this be happening, he thought. Then she pulled back the covers, and he was lost. Miss F, fully acknowledged, never mentioned, lay happily between them. Hours, days, weeks later, she said, I have to tell you something. For a moment she was silent, and he pictured in the darkness her eyebrows drawing together. I'm no more Miss Barrow's niece than I'm a cavalier. She made a little rasping sound. Actually, I've never laid eyes on either of the Barrows. A friend told me the house was empty, and I needed somewhere to go. Even as she spoke, she was counting their contiguous places, thighs, hips, elbows, shoulders, floating ribs, biceps, calves, and wherever they touched he felt the slight tingling of her electricity. It's not fair, he had told his mother one day after school. I can't lie like the other boys. Everyone lies, she had said. You're just a slow learner. Now he remembered how her face had changed when he asked her whose niece she was. I knew that, he said slowly. And don't you wonder who I am? What I'm doing here? You saw what I was in my suitcase, didn't you? He searched high and low, the spiral of his right ear, the knotted place behind the left temple, the hollow where his skull met his spine, the airy lattice inside his forehead, but he couldn't find a trace of wondering. The Barrows had insurance. Let her take whatever she needed for her. And for Miss F, what he did find, regrettably, but obdurate, was his old fear of the unfamiliar. I have to go home, he said. I'm sorry, it's not you. I just can't handle strange houses, strange beds. She touched his cheek. Next morning Zeke knocked only once before setting aside the fried egg sandwiches. He'd asked for brown bread in an effort to offset last night's beer, and sliding the blade of his penknife under the sieve of the side window, he left the bag of sandwiches on the kitchen table and climbed the stairs, hoping to find her still in bed, hoping to slip in beside her and bring as many of his current selves as possible into proximity with hers. And this time he thought, however stupid, however embarrassing, he would ask her name. The bed was unmade, empty, and cold to the touch. The suitcases gone. At the foot of the bed the rug was rolled up, and, spread eagle on the bare wooden boards, lay the overalls, neatly buttoned, armed and legs wide, like an empty person. She had added a head, a crude profile drawn in chalk. Gazing down, Zeke understood she was sending him a message. Something important happened here. Niece or no niece, she would return. That's the end of The Niece. Bye.